Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between BratOk and HasuObs here from Metalopolis. We have HasuObs spawning as the blue Protoss player over here at the 2 o'clock position. Meanwhile, all the way on the other side of the map, we have BratOk spawning over here as the red Terran player. Now, some people are telling me that it's BratOk, some people are telling me that it's BratOk. I believe it's Russian, so it's supposed to be BratOk, even though it's camel case to be BratOk. I apologize if I messed that up. We have HasuObs most likely going to be putting on a pylon relatively soon, and then looking to do some scouting, early scouting with this probe. So a standard 9 scout or 9 pylon, and then moving out with this probe. Meanwhile, over here, BratOk getting the supply depot behind these minerals. So by getting the supply depot behind these minerals, enabling that SCV to head back to work faster, and when that supply depot is done, more of an economic build. So most likely going to go for a 12 or a 13 barracks, actually more like a 12 barracks, as there's no real reason to go for a 13 barracks with Terran, as there is not any sort of chrono boost that a Protoss player has. So the Protoss player most likely going to go for a 13 or 14 gateway. There we go, getting the gateway there and placing it down right here, blocking out these mineral patches. So trying to protect perhaps these workers just a little bit. In comes HasuObs with this probe. Now probe doing a little bit of a move, and now perhaps trying to take down the single worker that's working on this barracks. Observer now pulling back, SCV getting into a little bit of an engagement with that probe. Probe most likely going to back off right when it's out of that shield, and then perhaps try to do coming back on a little bit of a re-engagement. Those shields regenerate very quickly once the cooldown period is over, so already that probe back up to full hit points. Now SCV moving on out, doing more scouting as well. We already have an assimilator down, and a second pylon being placed down, and have a cybernetics core being placed down as well. So skipping the early zealot and now going for that cybernetics core instead. So now chrono boosting, just trying to get more of an economic advantage. We have a tech lab being placed down. So we either going to see Reapers or Marauders. Both are fairly decent options. I don't see a second refinery down yet, so I don't know when BratOk will be trying to go for, if or when he would be trying to go for that factory. Another gateway being placed down, so it's a 2-gate. Now going for a 2-gate, we may see a robotics facility as well, but a little bit of a 2-gate action tends to open up more towards 4-gate play. So we'll see how this works out. SCV really wants to get some scouting out, trying to figure out what exactly the strategy is. Wants to, if it is going to be a more of a 4-gate strategy, wants to make sure that he has enough barracks in order to combat this. We have a second barracks now being placed down. So trying to even up the number of barracks that BratOk has compared to the number of gateways that HasuObs has, to make sure that he does not fall behind in terms of production. HasuObs though doing a proxy pylon over here, and gonna be quickly scouted out by BratOk finding this pylon, now going after that probe, may be able to get off a couple shots. No, should have just gone after that probe, and we could have jumped down that cliff, shot down that probe, and then come back up to take down this pylon. That pylon's not going to go anywhere, and that's already a guaranteed kill there. Stalker now moving on out, perhaps wants to shoot down BratOk's single Reaper there. We do have a single Marauder on this high ground as well, there to most likely counteract any Reaper harassment. BratOk wants to make sure that there are no additional proxy pylons in the base. Moving out with that Nitro, or with that Reaper able to jump up and down those cliffs so easily. Production wise, we already have a Ghost Academy in play, and we also have a Stargate being placed down by HasuObs. So HasuObs placing down a Stargate over here, and Stargate placing down over here, may get some Void Rays. Back over here, we have a supply depot being placed down by BratOk, making sure that he has additional scouting, doesn't want any warp prisms to be able to be pushed in from that backside. BratOk now also building off of this refinery, or sorry, not the reactor. The reactor double producing those Marines. Those Marines will be a fairly decent counter for those Void Rays that are currently being produced. He does not. He does, however, see this Void Ray that is produced over there, and in comes the Stalker, or it's the Reaper. Reaper gonna try to get up a couple of shots off. Probe's already coming off the line. Are we gonna gets 1 kill? So that Reaper already getting 2 kills. A Stalker shoots a particle beam into the face of that Reaper. Reaper getting taken down in a nice explosion of a mess. Void Ray now moving on out, gateway, double gateway into a Stargate, and now a third gateway being produced as well. So Void Ray's perhaps going to try to push down on this main base here. We have 3 Marauders, about a half a dozen Marines, and a single Ghost. More Marauders being trained up, more Marines being trained up, as we are going for a factory. Factory probably to try to get into Starport eventually. Apparently the Void Raid wants to charge up that attack and then gain that attack. Will it? Yeah. Oh, very nicely done. Keeping that very nicely. Hasu using that micro in order to keep up that full charge attack. These destructible rocks are just so powerful for those Void Rays. Void Rays charging up that beam until it gets up to that 3 attack, and then engaging on his own Stalkers in order to maintain that 3 charge attack. So HasuObs doing a great job with this. Now focusing down, trying to take down that single reactor. And 2 Void Rays now coming in. We also have the concussive shells. No concussive shells yet. And Stim Pack now being researched. Still no concussive shells, so those Stalkers will be able to pull away. Void Rays trying to pressure at this time. HasuObs should also take this opportunity to try to set up an expansion. Reactor coming in as well, getting focused down a little bit more, trying to focus down that Ghost, and a couple sentries being warped in off of this pylon over here. So Void Rays continuing to fight, pushing back and forth. Some Stalkers want to get up onto that high ground, and how is this really going to work? That Ghost has some EMP, and now we have a force field being placed down. So that is a curious placement for that force field, as those Void Rays trying to focus down more of those Marines. The Void Rays have a range of 7. That is why those Marines are unable to really engage back. A 2 range difference between those Marines and those Void Rays. Sentry is still sitting on this low ground, may be able to just lock BratOk in his base. We see Hasu now getting an expansion over there, and Void Rays trying to taking down this starport now. Marines and Marauders trying to push on in, perhaps getting some damage dealt, and still nothing being pushed over here. A couple Marines standing close by. Void Rays wanting to do a little bit of an engagement and doing an attack and a move, pulling back. However, there is a medevac in the air to continue to heal up these units. Void Rays resetting the charge on those Void Rays once again, as those Void Rays pulling back. Both Void Rays still recharging those shields, and just very, very nice micro coming in. A single Viking now should be able to deter any additional attacks. That Void Ray pushing back in, and now Void Ray chasing down a little bit more. Still force field there, so really BratOk has no real option to really push out, using 4 sentries to continually drop down force fields over here, and may try to do some sort of drop, perhaps try to use the medevacs in order to get onto that low ground. And now nope, still HasuObs just trying to continue to lock BratOk inside his base. We do have a command center being lifted off. We have a reactor for that starport, so should start producing double Vikings in order to engage on that single. Oh, almost able to take down that last Viking. Viking was down to 21 hit points. 2 more shots from a Stalker would have done it. SCVs may decide to come over to repair it. Yeah, Viking is now being repaired by 2 SCVs as more medevacs being produced. So more medevacs being produced. Orbital Command is now down, as Marauders were able to go ahead and come back in. Nice EMP shockwave, and now all of those sentries without energy. However, there is a High Templar. High Templar does not, feedbacks that Ghost, but at the cost of a single High Templar as well. Vikings now doing a little bit of a chase. Stim packs on those Marines, and BratOk looks like he has reached critical mass, able to continue to move on out. There are a couple medevacs, there should be more medevacs sitting here. Yeah, medevacs sitting over here by that starport should try to move them out as well. Another Viking getting another Void Ray getting taken down by that Viking. And BratOk with a critical, just such a large army, 3,050 in terms of this army, should be able to just run over HasuObs' army now. More Zealots now coming in, Stalkers, Zealots coming in as well. For some reason, not engaging here, and perhaps trying to get a little bit of more of a flanking position. Marines, Marauders, High Templars coming in, Psystorm hitting a lot of those units. BratOk losing a lot of Marines and Marauders there. However, HasuObs is forced to say GG. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. This is game 1 in a series that I have between BratOk and HasuObs. Stay tuned for game 2 I believe it's on Lost Temple, not 100% sure. All the names were in German, I believe. Anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the additional games as well.